Welcome to Jessie Education Care.
The story of Mrs. Harper, a teacher who changed lives. In the small town of Brookfield, nestled between rolling hills and sprawling forests, there was a school that stood at the heart of the community. Brookfield Academy was not the largest or the most prestigious school, but it was known for its warm and close-knit environment. At the heart of it all was Mrs. Harper, a teacher whose presence left a mark on every student she encountered. Mrs. Harper was not the typical teacher. She was in her late 40s, with glasses perched on the end of her nose and her long, dark hair often pulled into a neat bun. She had a quiet grace about her, a soft-spoken demeanor that made students feel safe and understood. However, what set her apart wasn't just her kindness or patience, but the way she truly saw each child for who they were, not just as students, but as individuals with dreams, struggles, and potential. Her classroom was a sanctuary of creativity and curiosity. Walls were adorned with student artwork, inspiring quotes, and a large chalkboard filled with notes about the day's lesson. But the most unique feature of Mrs. Harper's room was the small reading nook in the corner, where students could escape into books when they needed a break. It wasn't just a space for quiet reading, it was a space for reflection and growth. One of the students who would forever remember Mrs. Harper was Ethan, a quiet 12-year-old boy who had trouble fitting in. He was a shy, reserved child who struggled with self-confidence. His family had recently moved to Brookfield, and he had a difficult time adjusting to his new school. He sat at the back of the class, rarely raising his hand, and often looked out the window, lost in his thoughts. Mrs. Harper noticed Ethan's behavior early on. Instead of reprimanding him or pushing him to engage, she quietly began to take an interest in his life. She found out that Ethan loved reading, especially stories about adventure and faraway lands. One day, she handed him a book titled The Secret Garden and simply said, "I thought you might like this." It's about finding beauty in unexpected places. Ethan was taken aback. No one had ever given him a book with such thought before. From that moment on, Ethan's relationship with Mrs. Harper changed. She didn't just give him assignments or grades, she gave him encouragement. She started to notice his small achievements, like when he shared a creative idea in class or when he offered an answer in a group discussion. She celebrated every step forward, no matter how small. Over the course of the year, Ethan's confidence blossomed. He began to share his thoughts more openly in class, and he even joined the school's creative writing club, something he never would have considered before. The support and understanding he received from Mrs. Harper had given him the courage to step out of his shell. He went from being the quiet boy at the back of the room to becoming a leader in his own right, someone who was proud of who he was and where he came from. But it wasn't just Ethan who felt Mrs. Harper's impact. Her dedication to her students spread throughout the school. She was known for her willingness to stay after class to help struggling students, for writing letters of recommendation that inspired dreams, and for always being a patient listener when someone needed to talk. She believed that every child had potential, and she worked tirelessly to bring out the best in each one. There was Sarah, a brilliant but troubled student who often lashed out in class due to personal struggles at home. Mrs. Harper didn't give up on her, even when others had. Through countless heart-to-heart talks, MRs, Harper helped Sarah channel her anger into her passion for art, eventually helping her create a mural for the school that became a symbol of resilience and hope. Then there was Jacob, a student with a learning disability. He had always been told that he wasn't good enough, but Mrs. Harper saw his intelligence in a different light. She worked with him one-on-one, finding creative ways to teach him that catered to his unique way of learning. By the end of the year, Jacob had passed the most challenging math test of his life, and his self-esteem had soared. But perhaps the most profound impact Mrs. Harper had was on the school itself. Her positive influence spread beyond her classroom walls. Teachers began to adopt her methods of nurturing students' strengths and focusing on their individual needs. The school began to host workshops for parents, emphasizing the importance of supporting children's emotional well-being, not just their academic performance. Brookfield Academy had become a place where children were celebrated for who they were, not just for what they could achieve. Years later, after Mrs. Harper had retired and moved to a small cottage by the sea, former students would often return to visit her. They would sit with her in her garden, sipping tea and sharing their stories. Ethan, now a successful author, was one of the first to come back. He told her how he had published his first novel, inspired by the love for reading she had kindled in him. "I never would have thought I could be a writer," he said, looking out over the garden where wildflowers bloomed. "But you believed in me when no one else did. You showed me that I had a voice." Mrs. Harper smiled, her heart full. "I always knew you did," she said gently. Her legacy lived on, not in grand gestures or public accolades, but in the quiet ways she had touched the lives of her students. Mrs. Harper had given them more than just an education. She had given them the confidence to chase their dreams, the courage to overcome their struggles, and the belief that they were capable of greatness. And that, in the end, was the true gift of a teacher, not just teaching subjects, but teaching hearts to soar.